ask you one simple question, then I'll show you the answer, and I hope when I finish, everybody here can go back home and think about what I'm saying because it's really important. So tell me, what happens when you put too much air inside a balloon? According to science, the inside pressure gets too high and the balloon explodes. And guess what? It works the same way with people. It isn't news to anyone. The society is always demanding that we be the best at everything, and we are always trying to live up to people's expectations. But this can be a dangerous combination because we try, people start to expect more from us, we have to try harder and so on. It gets to a point where we exhaust ourselves, not only not to disappoint other people, but not to get ourselves disappointed. We don't even realize, but we started to believe that it's our responsibility to be society's best, when it's not. For me, the saddest part is that people keep trying while thinking that there must be something wrong with them because everybody else seems to be doing well. But in fact, a lot of other people are also not doing well, and everybody keeps pretending they are okay with whatever is going on because it's what society wants to hear. That's terrible because people try until they just can't anymore, until they reach their limits, and that's when people explode. A common way of outpouring is by developing a mental disorder. Anxiety, depression, panic syndrome, OCD, eating disorders, a lot of other ones, but it doesn't stop there. Because after it all, we still believe that we don't have the right to not be fine. What is painful and frustrating because we don't get to decide it anymore. As the second major cause of death of people between 15 and 29 years old in the world is suicide. This is a warning. It's nothing but proof that we haven't been able to deal with the pressure we are subjected to. We've grown up and we've been raised as if everyone would always be comprehensive, as if people are going to touch our shoulders and say that we're doing great, but that won't happen and we will have to know our time to stop, our limits. Sooner or later, by ours or other mistakes, we are all going to learn it, and I know. But this shouldn't be something people learn after the explosions. We should be taught to deal with this since childhood, and that's what I'm here to talk about. We could prevent these explosions by simply adding a mental health meeting to the school curriculum. And we would just have to work in 3 main points: theoretical knowledge, dialoguing, and expressing. The main goal in theoretical knowledge would be to reduce prejudice against mental disorders, because once we know, we don't judge. And I can prove it to you, because have you ever seen a diabetic person being judged because their pancreas doesn't function properly? I've never. And have you ever seen them being judged for taking insulin to correct it? Me neither. But if I ask you the exact same question about people with any mental disorder because their brain doesn't function the way it should, about them taking their meds like antidepressants, anxiety, mood stabilizers, or anything to make it better, we have different answers now, and we should stop it because they are all disorders and the number of affected is close. 10% of the world's population suffers from some mental disorder, and 8.5% suffers from diabetes. They are all disorders, so the only difference between them is that we don't learn about one as much as we learn about other. Our second point would be to dialogue. It may seem difficult to make people feel comfortable while talking about what they feel, but once we reduce prejudice with the first step, it would create a safe environment for them to share their feelings. And if we could talk with at least one person in the class about what is going on in our minds, it would be great. We could also have group discussions about a situation someone wants to share, anonymously or not. Talking is the best way to prevent and solve problems. Our last point would be to express our feelings. I think a good way of doing it is through art, because we could do anything. Painting, drawing, or even by music. Anything people feel comfortable doing could be used. It would help them develop their creativity while helping them understand each other and themselves. And we don't need sophisticated materials to pass someone a message. This is just a piece of paper, some drops of ink, and water. But it's how I felt when I experienced my explosion. I was just as pressured as anyone else, but I didn't know how to deal with it. So I kept pushing me into a situation that I knew I couldn't handle. And at some point it was too much, and I got stained just like the paper. And I exploded like the balloon. But unlike the balloon, my explosion was silent, because people's explosions don't have to be loud. And that's what makes them difficult to realize. That's why we have to that's why you have to pay attention at people. But I don't think society should stop demanding from us, because it's healthy to have goals to reach. It's good to have people pushing us to do things. But at this moment, there are a lot of people suffering from the bad side of this pressure. They're screaming for our help in their own ways, and we just don't listen because we don't want to. We can stop the balloon from explosion by simply adding a mental health meeting to the school. We just have to let them know how to make their mental health a priority, to tell them that, to make sure they know their own limits, and they respect it, be it in relationship, works, school, anywhere, and mainly that we have to tell them that they don't have to be anyone's best but their own. I hope you all consider it, because the next affected could be anyone. It can be you, one of your friends, family, anyone, and we need to take care of each other.